From geography to history, plants and animals, science, and so much more. This is Mike Butler, and welcome to This Day's Trivia from Bison Podcasts. Each episode, we dive into 5 unique trivia topics, all tied to today's date. And our trusty randomizer wheel will pick one of those topics for the episode. Get ready for 16 fast-paced trivia questions with just 5 seconds between each question. Perfect for testing your knowledge solo or with friends and family, at home or on your next road trip. So buckle up. It's time for this day's trivia. We're breaking format today. To celebrate Maternal Health Awareness Day, which is tomorrow, we're talking to Dr. Esteban Castro from Guatemala. I hope you enjoy the interview and make sure to stick around for the trivia. Dr. Castro leads a maternal-neonatal health program in Antiqua Guatemala, which is a beautiful city just about 30-40 kilometers west of the capital. Is that about right?
Yes, that's right.
How long have you lived there?
I actually don't live in Antigua. I live a bit outside, so 10 minutes outside of Antigua. I'm from another town called Chimaltenango, but I go to Antigua every day for work. That's where I work.
What inspired you to get into medicine?
I don't know. At first, that's like a question I get a lot, when people talk about medicine. It's like, oh, this is like your passion for life. For me, it was like my last year of high school. And I was like, oh, what class I do enjoy the most, And I really enjoy chemistry and biology. So I was like, maybe I like something like in that direction. So then I applied to medical school and I got accepted. And I was like, oh, this is cool, And the schooling, I love learning, but there's many other challenges coming with the profession now that I graduate and I'm working as a physician that I didn't know before. But I will say science inspired me into going into medicine.
Do you mind sharing some of those challenges that you didn't anticipate, while you were still in school?
Well, you kind of learn a lot of the conditions where you work at. So going to like the public hospitals and seeing the reality of patients, because in Guatemala, healthcare, it's free. We get the service by like the sale taxes. So you can go to a public hospital and you will get attention. But the quality of care is not the best, So if you have money, you will rather go to a private hospital and get better quality of attention. But a lot of the patients don't know how to navigate the system, and a lot of them, they're lost. So a lot of their conditions get complicated by time, because they are seeking someone to find the diagnosis and get the care they need. But it's a long way to get to the final decision and treatment, So those conditions are hard. And also before doing maternal health, I was working for a diabetes clinic for 2 years. It was part of a social business. And I really like it in the sense that I got to empower a lot of the patients to their conditions. But also a lot of the economic and financial limitations to prescribe medicines that they cannot afford, So that's an important conversation. And those challenges are the ones you don't think in medical school you're gonna be talking about can you afford to buy insulin, why, do that's the best treatment for them? Why do I have to talk with my patient about that,
What are some of the specific health struggles that your community faces?
Yeah, diabetes and chronic disease are affecting worldwide, but in Guatemala specifically, we live in a very diverse country, and 45% of the population identify as indigenous Mayan. So that's like a cultural and race condition that they struggle to get the attention because they don't speak the language of the physician or the provider. So a lot of the times they go to the doctor and they seek care, but they don't fully understand what's going on, what's diabetes. And that was like one of the things, like working directly with patients, I realized like a lot of physicians, you will come to get care, and yeah, I'll prescribe you something, but I won't take the time to explain to you what diabetes is, and part of my training or working at this clinic, that was like the big thing we wanted to do. It was to like empower people by having the education about like the disease and what things they can do to get better, because you can just prescribe a medicine, but at the end, that medicine or treatment it's not gonna be enough, and you have to scale, and then it's gonna be more expensive for the patient and for the system. So if you invest some time in educating the people, like, okay, you have to make lifestyle modifications, like diet and exercise, and this is gonna have a better outcome at the end, people really appreciate that. So I saw a lot of patients being happy about that.
Some preventative medicine.
And that's like the part of medicine that I really like, prevention and saving lives when it's possible, not when it's too late. Those people deserve care too, but I think it's important for us now moving forward to put a lot of attention in prevention.
It is possible, if I'm correct, to reverse diabetes with certain lifestyle changes. Is that right?
It is. You can put it, not reverse, but put diabetes in remission, we said. That means having your A1C under 6 over 6 months without treatment. So, and some people, when you screen for it at time, you have better chances to change and modify your lifestyle, and then that will make it better,
But you've shifted gears. So the past year you've been working in neonatal care, maternal health. So what does that program look like, and what are its primary goals for the community?
So after a while doing diabetes care, I was doing that for 2 years, and then I got a little tired of the whole system and the complications with the patients, and they don't have the resources to get better. So I was a little hopeless about the whole situation. So I was like, I need to look for something different, and I find this other position that it's mainly a research physician position, but I do a lot of the administration side of the program too. So during medical school, I never thought I was going to be working in maternal health. When I did my OBGYN rotations, I did enjoy it, but I felt it was very aggressive and very patriarchal for the patients. But I think they deserve better treatment, and especially in the hospitals in Guatemala, women go to into labor by themselves. We don't have rooms to have a partner with the patient, so most of the times these women are alone giving birth. So that's it was really shocking to me, oh, how you're going through that really important and very pure moment in your life, but you're not able to be with your loved ones, right?
Well, we talked about this off mic a bit. There's a similar kind of view of pregnancy here in the United States where, your mind goes straight to a woman in the hospital, ultimately. But there are other ways, and there are other safe ways. If I remember correctly, you said you often work with midwives who speak Spanish and then the indigenous languages as well. So they're kind of like the bridge in between you and the patients.
Yeah.
Because you speak Spanish and English, but not the indigenous languages. and these midwives help to, if you need to get any message across, they help. And then also, these women are used to giving birth outside of the hospital, right? And they feel probably very comfortable with these midwives. Mm-hmm. But if I remember correctly, you said you try to make sure they have, I guess, medical health or medical attention that they need in case something does go wrong, because mm-hmm. that's when the hospital can make a big difference, right?
Yeah, that's all right. So we noticed that for working with indigenous population in rural areas, it was important to have an ally to like work with, and mm-hmm. where we're not going to be able to just come and kind of like impose this idea of having a hospital birth when it's needed without the help of midwives. So in Mayan culture, midwives, or they believe that it's a gift from the gods, you know, mm-hmm. and they are relieve their profession on their dreams. And so they constantly say that before becoming a midwife, they will have these dreams about like a birth and how to attend it, and that's the way they learn and get the skills to attend a birth, and then they start practicing. So now that we have more, I will say, control health system, the Minister of Health needs to work with the midwives to, you know, like to train them and give them other skills that they don't learn by dreams, right?
Yeah.
So that's the like an important role, because you have to do it according to their needs, you know, and it has to be in their language because it's better for them. So we work closely with the midwives, teaching them and training them, but respecting their culture, because we don't want to change the way they attend births, you know, like that's natural and it's okay, it's safe. But when there's like higher risk pregnancies that need to be at the hospital because they will need a blood transfusion, you know, like those are the cases that we are in charge and take to the hospital to prevent deaths, because Guatemala is like one of the countries with highest mortality rate, maternal mortality rate in the area. And it's interesting because we're not a low-income country. We're a middle-income country. But if you will visit Guatemala, you will see the level of inequality in the country. You know, like there's people that have a lot and there's people that have nothing. And that's shocking, because you can be in Antigua Guatemala, which is a beautiful tourist town, having your dinner for $30 and sipping wine and thinking, oh my God, this place is like heaven, you know, but only like an hour outside of it, there's people like living under $1 a day, you know, so it's really shocking. And it's shocking for me because I want to acknowledge that I come from like a privileged family in Guatemala, and I was able to go to medical school, learn English, and have many other like opportunities than my fellow Guatemalans in the country.
It really does seem like you're in a good position to help. You know, we were talking again earlier about having the skill of Spanish and English must be helpful because there's a lot of research done in English. Even though things are changing so much, you know, you can translate any type of paper, academic paper now pretty easily into any language. Is there any specific in the past year, any specific story that stands out to you? Any specific experience that you've had that really has stuck in your mind, that maybe has made you feel like what you're doing is really impactful?
Yeah, I feel like every case because we have a whole system of how we work with the referrals to the hospital. Every case, sometimes when they're really high risk and they have a complication, because we do like a prenatal visit, we interview the patient, we work with the midwife, and we see like, okay, this is like a low risk pregnancy, she can have a home birth, you know. But sometimes you think everything's fine, and then at labor, like everything can change, you know, and it gets a little stressful for the midwife and the transportation, all of that. But I have this one case from one patient that she was 18, 17, you know. There's a lot of underage pregnancies in Guatemala right now, which is really sad. But it was her first pregnancy, and the baby had what's it called? Like a malformation. And we detect that prenatal by an ultrasound. But we knew that in their town, she's not gonna get the attention the baby needs, because after birth, the baby needs a surgery to fix it, you know? So the hospital in the area, that's the hospital we work closely with, they decided to refer her to Guatemala City, which is like 2 hours from where she lives. And she was not convinced about going to the hospital. She's like, I don't want to leave my house. I don't know the city. And this is like a very uncommon situation for them. You know, like some of them haven't been to the city at all, ever. So just going to the city is like scary.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, like they don't speak my language. What I'm going to do? I don't have money to pay anything, you know? So that's where we try to help, you know, like we have someone that will go with you and will translate and will be with you the whole time. So she gets refer that, but she was like not accepting the like to go there. So I visit her at her home, and like I explained to her with help of my team members and translating, you know. She was bilingual. She understood most of it in Spanish too. But she was like, I don't want to go, like all the things that I already told you. But at the end, like she was like, okay, I'll think about it. So like 3 days or 2 days after, she calls us and she's like, okay, I'm gonna go. So she has her birth there, and the baby got the surgery. And yeah, they're happy now, you know. And those stories like really matter, you know, because if that baby will be born in their town, probably the baby would have died, you know. So it's pretty powerful. Not like you're not performing the surgery or doing like the major things that you think a physician's doing, but those little things like, oh, like me coordinating this patient to go there, you can see like those numbers matter at the end, you know. Like I work with data, and sometimes it's like it's just seeing numbers, you know, like how many babies are born every month and all those things. But all those numbers matter when you're talking about like a life and a family and a woman, you know.
So looking at the data, has your program, has it been showing up in the data yet that it's helping? Have you been seeing lower death rates, maternal death rates?
Yeah.
That's great.
So this program started in 2016, and it's been very successful. So I'm happy to be part of something that it's been working for the last 8 years almost, you know. And yeah, coming and helping a little bit more and trying to bring it as down as we can. But before the program, they will have around like 8 deaths a year, and now maternal deaths, you know. And now we're only having about 1 or 2 a year.
That's great.
Which it's good, you know. So I really think it's impactful. Like our goal is to have 0 deaths, you know, because no one should die because of labor. Like it's a natural thing, you know, and we have everything to prevent it, you know. Like we know like you can get prenatal care. If you have a complication, a hospital should be skilled and equipped to help you, you know.
It really does sound like you guys are finding that delicate balance between providing care and help that they wouldn't have before, with respecting certain cultural traditions and things like that. I'm going to be releasing this on January 22nd. January 23rd is Maternal Health Awareness Day, and I wanted to read a little bit about it. This is information from the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, and you can go to their website to find out more. The day is to celebrate and raise awareness of health issues facing those who are pregnant and issues related to the postpartum experience after childbirth. According to the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists page, on Maternal Health Awareness Day, nearly 80% of maternal deaths in the U.S. are preventable. Like you were saying, this can be prevented often. And yet our rates remain very high, especially for Black, Indigenous, and other marginalized communities. So, there are some similarities, similar but different. Nearly half of maternal deaths occur between 7 days to 1 year postpartum, not during delivery itself. That might probably similar in Guatemala as well.
We have a lot more deaths during labor.
Okay.
Honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lack of access to proper care and affordable care has become a big part of the issue here in the U.S. Patients in certain states here are losing reproductive freedoms in recent years. If you've been following the news about what's been happening, you come here quite a bit, so I'm sure you do. Sometimes doctors in those states are afraid to intervene because they are worried about breaking new laws that are being put in place regarding childbirth. So that might be an issue that's unique to us that hopefully is not happening in Guatemala. But the laws just keep changing, and doctors, they're saying I don't want to go to jail, so they're not intervening when perhaps they need to. Some of these issues you've already touched on the differences, but similarities and differences, you've talked a lot about them already. But what do you think overall we can do around the world to lower maternal death rates?
I think that's where research is a key component of this, because we can compare our data with other countries, and global health, it's a whole thing that we can use to connect with others and see, what they're doing in Africa could work here, So that's part of why we are trying to do this based in data. We're not just going with the flow and seeing and thinking this is the best we can do.
That's smart.
We analyze and see, okay, this has happened, so we have to come with ideas that can work. And it doesn't work, we take it up, and take it out and try something different, and until we find something that will work. But I was recently this year, I was in a training from Harvard University from the States, and it was about taking care of women during times of conflict and battles and war in the world. So a lot of the presenters were from different countries, and at the end you realize we're more alike than we think, we really share a lot of those things. And as you said, you usually marginalized communities are the ones that are suffering a little bit more in any country. So compared to here, we see indigenous women in Guatemala are dying more, 3 times more risk of dying during labor than a non-indigenous person in Guatemala, And it's similar to here, that a Black woman has twice as risk of dying during labor, And there's this total a social component of it,
Do you think there are any approaches to maternal health in Guatemala that my audience could learn about that you think that could help women here during pregnancy and after?
I think finding someone in the community that people trust, it's a really important thing. So for us, working with the midwives, it's the most important thing. I don't think we would be able to do this without them, and having that relationship with them. I will say the same thing here, because a lot of patients are getting scared of going to the hospital, and having a more medicalized birth, and they decided to be at home. But a good thing here is that a lot of midwives they have a license, and they have years of training, and sometimes midwives have a lot more experience with birth than a physician, so we just have to transfer power, I think. I feel the medical world and physicians for many years were looked as something up there, and I think we have to look at everyone doing the same thing and try to work together, midwives, physicians, nurses, and we can improve health doing that, I'm not the type of physician that wants to just give orders and everyone follows, I want to listen what the patient, what the midwife, what everyone has to say,
Rethink, reconfigure the amount of power, or at least like the hierarchical structure in Western medicine. We have to rethink. That is a really great message, and a great way to end the conversation about maternal health in a very positive and optimistic way. Is there anything else you want to say before we transition and do some trivia?
No, I think that's all. Thanks for having me and giving this space to share about this really important issue in the world, that we need to talk a little bit more about. But sometimes only women are talking about that, and
right.
We also as men can talk and have these conversations about what's happening with birth, So yeah, that's it.
I completely agree. I'm really glad you wanted to do this, and that our schedules aligned so we could both meet here in Florida. Okay, so if you still have some energy left for this interview, let's do the trivia part.
Okay.
Like I said, this will be released on January 22nd. So let's look at 5 topics tied to the date of January 22nd. One will be chosen at random, so then you'll be asked 16 questions about a topic that you may know nothing about.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready to be dumb.
Topic number 1, January 22nd marks the anniversary of the landmark Supreme Court decision that established a constitutional right to abortion in the United States. Okay. While it has since been overturned, this date remains as a reminder of the importance of reproductive rights advocacy. So that was right up, very relevant to the topic of what we're talking about today. Topic number 2, legendary Soviet film director Sergei Eisenstein was born on this day in history, 1898, in Latvia. He created one of the most influential films in history, Battleship Potemkin. He is also seen as the pioneer of film montage, using images independent of the main action of the scene for stronger emotional impact. Eisenstein died in Moscow in 1948 at the age of 50. Are you a classic film fan?
I'm not.
No. So you probably are hoping that's not the topic chosen for trivia. Topic number 3 today is Grandparents' Day in Poland. Good Morning TVN, Poland's equivalent to Good Morning America, I suppose, tells us that this day that you celebrate your grandpa, dates back to 1978 in the country, followed one day after Grandmother's Day, celebrated on January 21st. Good Morning TVN tells me the idea came to Poland from the USA. Does Guatemala have some sort of day to celebrate grandparents?
We don't, an official day for that, no.
It should be every day, right? Yeah. That might shed a light on some cultural differences right there. Like, why would we need to? Okay, topic number 4. Today marks the death of Queen Victoria, who died at the age of 81 on January 22nd, 1901. Growing weaker in her years leading up to her death, she suffered from different ailments, among them cataracts and rheumatism. One of her last entries in her diary read, quote, "From not having been well, I see so badly, which is very tiresome." I thought that was a really interesting quote. Queen Victoria served as Queen of Great Britain and Ireland from 1837 to 1901, the longest reign in British history until Queen Elizabeth II, who just died recently. And topic number 5, today is National Answer Your Cat's Questions Day. At first glance, themed days like this may seem pretty silly, but often if you do enough digging, you can find more meaning behind these themes. The Schwartzman Animal Medical Center in New York City, the world's largest nonprofit animal hospital, reminds us that today can be a day to reflect on the question, how well can you, quote unquote, read your cat? And I just want to give some examples here. This is from their website, Signs of Pain in Cats. So everybody listen up if you're a cat owner. If they're hiding, reduced activity, changes in litter box habits, hissing, spitting, screaming, lack of agility or jumping, excessive licking or grooming, or stopping grooming entirely, or matted fur, stiff posture or gait, tail flicking, which was interesting. I've seen cats do that before. I never knew that was a sign of pain, potentially. Loss of appetite, weight loss, changes in facial expression, like squinting eyes, ears pointing outward, or tense muzzle, it says.
They need a massage.
Yeah, maybe. Are you a cat owner?
I'm not. No, I'm allergic to cats.
Oh. Do you like cats?
I do.
How much do you know about cats?
I don't know anything. No.
Okay. Well,
I just know that I'm allergic to them.
Well, that was the topic the randomizer wheel chose for today.
I like that.
The randomizer wheel chose National Answer Your Cats Questions Day. I'm sure you'll know some of this. We're going to just talk about domestic cats in general.
Okay.
16 questions, and it doesn't really matter how well you do.
Okay.
It's just for fun. Question number 1. What is the common name in English for the smallest known domestic cat breed, named after its country of origin? Another name you might see for this breed, Kunchinta, in the Malay language, that's a clue, and they also sometimes are referred to as drain cats, or more affectionately, little lions of love. That's another hint, too. Any idea? I'll give you another hint. I mentioned it's named after its country of origin, which is an island nation in Southeast Asia with 4 official languages: Malay, Chinese, Tamil, and English.
I don't know. No.
Any idea? Very, very rich Asian
country?
Nation, yeah.
Oh.
Little island nation. Very crowded and very rich.
No idea.
The Singapura breed. Yep.
Okay.
Which is the Malay word for Singapore,
okay.
I guess. Which in turn is derived from the Sanskrit word for lion city, hence why they're called Little Lions of Love.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Look that up. The Singapura breed, they're adorable. Question number 2. What unique feature does a Manx cat have? Or rather, what common cat feature doesn't it have? What part of the body doesn't it have?
Part of a body?
The Manx. Yeah, the breed from the Isle of Man.
No idea.
I'm sure you've seen them. It's a tail. They have no tail. Or a very little stub of a tail.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, the Manx breed, M-A-N-X. Originating on the Isle of Man in the Irish Sea. Somewhere in its evolution, a genetic mutation caused the island cats to have a very short, almost non-existent tail. They're referred to as stubbins by locals.
I need to learn more about cats, apparently.
I guess you'll know a lot more after this.
No.
Number 3, often regarded as the best known hairless cat breed is this cat, which shares a name with a figure from both Greek and Egyptian mythology.
I've seen this ones, but I don't know what's the word in English for them.
I wonder if it's similar in Spanish.
I don't remember how they call it. Is it called like Egyptian cats? I don't know.
You know the famous the pyramids near Cairo, and there's the big statue of it's like half cat, half man.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't know the name. No.
The Sphinx.
The Sphinx.
Yeah. You had it. You had it on your tongue. Yep, that's the Sphinx cat. Question number 4. What famous cat is a character in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland?
What's the name of the cat?
Yeah, did you grow up with that story?
No. I didn't watch a lot of TV growing up. I was a boring kid. I don't know what type of cat it's in.
It's also the name of a county in England and a type of firm yet crumbly cheese from that area. That doesn't really help, does it?
No.
The Cheshire Cat. Have you heard that?
No. Wow.
I'm realizing these might be pretty kind of American-centric questions. Some of them. Number 5. What term describes a group of cats? And I have a hint for this too. The name sounds like a type of thick soup popular in the U.S.
Chowder? I don't know.
Yeah. So there's a New England clam chowder. There's a Manhattan clam chowder. And just switch one letter in the name, and then you have a group of cats. The name for a group of cats.
I don't know the word.
Clowder.
Clowder?
Yeah.
Oh.
The etymology tells me it sprung up as a variant of the word clutter, or a collection of things lying about in an untidy mass, which kind of describes cats. But you said you're allergic to cats. So even growing up, you just never were around cats, huh?
No. So after high school, like hanging out with friends or sleeping over at places, like I will like be around cats, and that's how I figured like I was allergic. But I'm really allergic to cats. Like my throat kind of like closes and I start like sneezing and coughing, so it's not fun for me being around cats.
So probably overall a topic that you've really just tried to avoid even thinking about.
I can tell you about the other side of allergies because of cats, but that's it, you know, like
fortunately none of these are about cat allergies.
Yeah.
Number 6, which famous internet meme cat, nicknamed Grumpy Cat, sadly passed away at the age of 7 back in 2009? And I'll give you a hint here. The name of the cat is a sauce that goes well with fish.
With a K, no?
Cocktail sauce? It's the other one.
I don't know.
Tartar sauce.
Tartar sauce.
Have you ever eaten tartar sauce?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was the actual name of that cat.
Oh, tartar sauce?
Yeah. You ever see the Grumpy Cat?
No.
Okay. No. Well, good for you. It sounds like you're kind of... yeah, I'm sure you're off doing more important things than looking at cat memes. Question 7. This short-haired breed is known for its striking blue eyes and pale fur with dark patches. James Dean had one, and so did Queen Elizabeth II, who's making a second appearance in this episode. And do you want a hint? It originally comes from Thailand, a country that used to be known by another name, and that's the clue, because the breed is named after what Thailand used to be called.
Oh, I don't know what Thailand used to be called.
I'll say it, and I'm sure you'll get the answer after that. It used to be called Siam.
Huh. No.
And there used to be conjoined twins used to be referred to with this word as well.
Oh, how you say it in English? Siameses? I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Siamese.
Siamese,
yep.
okay.
Yeah, the Siamese cats, if you don't know that breed, you'd think that would be two cats conjoined or something. But yeah, they're named because they originally come from Thailand.
This type of cat. I think they're cute. If I will get a cat, that's the one.
Gorgeous cats. Question 8. Which Asian country has a complicated long history with cats and created the quote-unquote beckoning cat figure called Maneki Neko, which translates to lucky cat? Here, I'll kind of act it out. Have you seen this cat?
Japan?
Yeah, in certain restaurants. Yeah, it comes from Japan. I feel like here you might even see it in Chinese restaurants or something, but it is a Japanese thing. Because in my research, there seemed to be some confusion over that. But yeah, the cat is not waving, but beckoning, because in Japanese culture, the way to beckon someone over to you is palm forward, fingers pointing down. Isn't that interesting?
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
I've seen them at the ramen shop in Antiqua. They have one of those cats, and yeah, they have like a one that it's really muscular and it has like rib arms. The cat, it's funny to see it.
Yeah, they're beckoning. Okay, question number 9. These specifically colored cats have long been associated with witchcraft and sorcery.
Black cats?
Yeah, black cats. Considered bad luck in many Western countries, but considered an omen of good fortune in Japan. Question 10. Which English composer and theatrical producer created Cats, one of the longest running shows on Broadway?
I wouldn't know that. No.
Andrew Lloyd Webber. Are you much of a Broadway guy?
No, not so much. I would love to.
To go to Broadway in New York?
I never been. I've been to New York, but never been to Broadway.
Well, you were telling me just this past year you've been to Florida 3 or 4 times, right? So
yes.
You must love Florida. And you're heading to Utah after this.
That's right. Yeah.
Do you normally, though, if you're taking a trip to the States, do you want to stay in the warmer climates? Does the beach really appeal to you?
Yeah, I like the beach, but I also... That's why I planned it this way, because I wanted a little bit of beach and then go to the mountains, because I really like the mountains too. So that's the balance. I will want to visit Utah in the summer, so it's a little bit different, but this is what work out with my schedule now.
Have you been to Colorado?
I haven't, no. But I heard it's similar to Utah, so...
Come take a trip. Fly into... Denver or something. I could pick you up. I'm not too far away.
That would be fun.
Question 11. This type of cat has a tri-colored coat that is most commonly 25 to 75% white with patches of reddish, orange, and black, sometimes brown. And I did look this up in Spanish, and the word in Spanish is pretty similar.
Siberian? I don't know. Is that a thing?
Calico.
Is that the word in Spanish that you're saying?
I think so. I think it's just a calico or something.
Calico?
Like that.
Okay. No.
Maybe they're not very common down in Guatemala to see. Although it's not a specific breed, rather they are the result of unique genetic factors. Their distinctive coat pattern is linked to genes on the X chromosome, which is why calicos are almost always female.
Interesting.
So, some medical science in there, which you might find interesting. Question 12. This fluffy, long-haired breed is a cross between a Siamese and a long-hair or Persian cat. Do you want the hint?
Yeah.
It's also named after a geographic region, which is a major system of mountains in Asia that you can find roughly between Thailand, formerly Siam, and Iran, formerly Persia. If you were to draw a line between the two countries, this mountainous region would be just a bit north of that line.
Oh.
So like northeast of India.
Okay. The Himalayas?
Yeah, yep. The Himalayan cat.
Okay.
Or I guess that comprises part of India and north of India, right? In my research, I saw its body described as kabi, which is another word for stocky. Question 13. What is the informal term for when cats tuck their paws and tail underneath their bodies, named after what doing so makes them resemble? Have you ever seen a cat do that? You were never around cats growing up, so you may...
but I think I know what you're talking about. Like they...
Yeah, and it almost looks like they don't have any legs or feet.
I don't know what's the word in English.
It currently doesn't seem to have an entry in the Oxford Dictionary, but I see this all over the internet. My guess is that it will be in the next few years an actual word in the dictionary, because there are a lot of cat memes, again, with the cats doing this. And okay, here's another hint. Think bread.
Okay. Bread. Croissant? I don't know.
What type of bread does the cat kind of look like?
What type of bread?
Or what shape of bread, I suppose, when they're doing that, when they tuck their legs in.
Like a donut or a bagel? I don't know.
Loaf.
A loaf?
Loaf.
Oh, interesting.
It's called loafing.
Oh, okay.
The only verb entry for loaf in Oxford currently is the definition, quote, to idle one's time away, aimlessly wandering or loitering. So there's no entry in it in the dictionary yet. Okay, question 14. True or false? Cats cannot chew their food.
I think that's false.
It's true. They just cut it up. They're true carnivores. They are adapted for their teeth are adapted for 3 functions: stabbing, anchoring, and cutting.
Oh,
they don't have flat crushing teeth at all.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Another true or false. Question 15. The idea that cats are made to land on their feet is just a myth. True or false? Have you ever heard that before? That no matter, like if you you drop a cat, they'll always land on their feet.
I think it's false.
It's what did I say? That cats made to land on their feet is just a myth. It is false. Yeah, correct, because it actually is true. They actually do have a unique skeletal structure and a natural reflex called the righting reflex, which allows them to instinctively twist their bodies mid-air to land on their feet. The ability helps them to survive falls and minimize injuries.
Wow.
Yeah, can you imagine?
We need that for humans.
I know. Okay, and now for the tie-in round. Typically, the tie-in round will tie in the previous episode's theme.
Okay.
But I haven't released one for January 20th yet. So I'm going to just tie in cats with yoga because it's something that we're both interested in.
Yes.
And love to do. Okay, so question 16. One particular yoga sequence is a favorite for warming up the spine, inspired by the movement of a cat, and typically paired with another movement reminiscent of a different animal, often seen in pastoral settings in the countryside. What is the name of that yoga sequence?
Cat-cow?
Cat-cow.
That was an easy one.
That was an easy one.
I was like, this is my area of expertise.
Yeah, well,
finally.
I knew that was going to be a good tie-in. Well, that's it. I really appreciate it, and yeah, thanks for all the info. And this was, eye-opening, and just a great conversation.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Interested in ad-free episodes, bonus content, transcripts, and my sources for deeper dives into the topics? Looking for archived material from my previous podcasts, Get the Word, and the English sessions? Go over to patreon.com/Bison Podcast Studios and give us just $1 single for all of it. Patreon.com/Bison Podcast Studios. That's patreon.com/Bison Podcast Studios. Follow us on Instagram. Just search This Day's Trivia or Instagram.com/This Day's Trivia. Until next time, this is Mike signing off.